everything that we need to succeed is already within us. We just need to unveil it. If you're feeling lost or you're not sure where to go, one of the best questions you can ask is, do I need to know more or do I need to use what I know better? What's up, guys? Welcome to the Strength Connection. I'm your host, Michael Kurkowski. All right, thank you so much for joining me. All right, it's me and you today. This is a solo episode. I'm going to be diving into a lesson of connection that has been on my mind for the last couple weeks that I've been excited to talk about, but it's been a lot of back and forth trying to curate and articulate my thoughts on it. So I feel ready to dive into it, and we'll get into that in just a brief moment. So beforehand, I wanted to just make you aware, kind of stemming off the episode that I did last week, where I chatted about this milestone of this time. I didn't realize it until I had a conversation with a good friend, but this week marks 15 years since I started as a coach in health and fitness and started a career as a personal trainer. And the journey has continued on till this day. And I talked a bit about just looking back, reflecting on these times, some insights and takeaways that I had, and kind of just from a moment of thinking I wanted to do, something in helping people. I really liked the fitness side of it, the physical side of training, but I never would have expected what would have came out of it. All the incredible, memories, the career that I've built over this time, successes, failures, and just the commitment that day in and day out that I've put into this craft, and can't imagine now doing anything else. So it's amazing how fast time can fly. And 15 years just goes in the blink of an eye with this. But on that, what I'm doing is I created a all new seminar that I'm doing that stems off of this piece, 15 years of physical training and mindset training that I'm going to be diving into. But there's a third piece of that as well. So what I'm calling the seminar is the 3 Ps: physical training, psychological insights, and psychedelics. Okay. So the third one there, it's a little different than what I was just talking about, is this is a personal experiment over my last 6 months of experimenting with microdosing. And I wanted to figure out a way to speak with this publicly, and do it in a way that was, I guess, appropriate in one way, but also give just my own personal experience. So what I'm talking about with this is the experience that I've had with it, the good, the things to be aware of, some of the negative, but also kind of the why I did this at this time. I've been thinking about it for a while. And this topic of plant medicine, of psychedelic therapy, is much more mainstream now. It's getting talked about a lot with very popular influencers on many different podcasts, many different forums, and also really the scientific field is going into this a lot as well, and it's getting a lot more mainstream. So who knows, over the next few years, I think this will be a lot more prevalent in mainstream medicine and things that we can talk about a lot more freely. It's going that direction. And I'm going to dive into my own personal experience. So if you're interested in this, you want to, hear more about these, the insights, especially over the last 15 years, where I'm going to dive into best training programs that I've done. You can register for the link. It's in the show notes, and come see me April 13th, 5 p.m. Eastern time. That's a Thursday. And all is welcome to come and listen. So that's that. Now, moving on, we'll get into this. I'm probably going to be relatively brief on this, but I wanted to go into this question that I was given at the end of 2022, somewhere kind of more towards the middle. But this was something that was it was a big question that I thought of a lot for a while. It was from a good friend of mine who prompted it to me at a time. And I think it really holds some weight and carries some weight into that whole knowing thyself and doing what's best for you, phrase that we use often. So I was told this question by a friend, which is, if you're feeling lost or you're not sure where to go, one of the best questions you can ask is, do I need to know more or do I need to use what I know better? Right? That's a powerful question in there. And the first time I heard that, I thought immediately of the second half of that: use what I know better. And I think so often when we're struggling or we're feeling lost or we're trying to figure out a way that we can make the changes and achieve the goals that we want to in our life, it's very easy to jump to a new book or jump to another program or get a new coach or dive into something new, because that new feeling, that honeymoon feeling, it feels really good. You get that dopamine rush, you get that sense of hope, like, oh, this is going to be my savior. This is what I'm going to, this is what's going to help me out the most. When in reality, oftentimes it's not about learning more and just diving into getting more knowledge. It's using what you already know, but using it better. So it's diving deeper, getting deeper into foundational practices, getting deeper into those principle-based programs and just doing it for more time. Success takes time. It takes effort. It takes day in and day out consistency. And as I thought about this question a lot, I thought, like, why did this hit me so much? And what I realized is, I think it's a way of taking something where we're looking externally out from us and then moving it internally. Okay. And that's something I believe in. I do believe that everything that we need to succeed is already within us. We just need to unveil it. We don't need to create. It's oftentimes we need to eliminate things that distract us, move us off the focus and the attention that we need to give something that's going to give us the benefits that we're truly looking for. Okay. So that's where I got a lot of this on. But the second part of it, I thought, is it's actually just a really good question, because it could be times where, yes, you do need to know more. Like, the first part of that question is really important. It's really powerful. And I was just reading some stuff in like the Tao Te Ching, because I do my weekend Tao, and it talks about, knowing others is important and it's great knowledge, but knowing yourself is truly powerful. And like, I get that. But the second part of that is, well, how do you learn to know yourself? It's actually an interesting question, because if you've never done something before that you're trying to do, you don't know the right way. You don't know how to trust your gut or trust your intuition. So if you say know yourself or do what is best, what feels best for you, well, you have no reference point on that. You have no means of, knowing what is best for you. And this was a trap that I felt myself get into at a point last year, where I went so deep down the side of intuitive training, and I still believe it's one of the most powerful things that you can do to sustain strength and build self-awareness and continue on the path of growth and the path of mastery. However, it needs to be built on a foundation of principles, which is discipline. Sometimes it's just following a plan over and over again, getting through the seasons of doing it when it's easy in your schedule, doing it when things are getting thrown at you, and still, getting those principles down. And I didn't realize that I did that for many years before I really started doing intuitive training. And I think I built a good foundation so I could do it. But at the point I was thinking, I was like, this sounds really awesome. This is a really interesting niche to dive into. And started talking about intuitive training with a lot of people who didn't go through those beginner steps, building that discipline, building those habits up. So it was kind of falling on deaf ears in many ways, because we didn't build those foundational things. So I think that the concept of know thyself, or doing what's best for you, it gives you like a good warm feeling. It's like a cozy feeling, right? It's like, yes, everything I need is within me. And I get that. I totally understand it. And there's a emotion that can come out of that, of know thyself. But again, if you don't know, if you don't know how to do that, if you don't really know where these things are coming from, then that could be a very lost moment. So that's why I think this question is so good. It's like, do I need to know more, or do I need to use what I know better? It depends on, where you're at in different stages. So I think if you're at a very beginning stage of a strength journey or starting a new venture or so, yeah, maybe you need to know more. Maybe you need to learn these things. You need to build some knowledge base up. Robert Greene in his book Mastery calls it the apprenticeship phase, where you're gaining knowledge. Then you move into the creative active phase, where then you take that knowledge and then you figure out the best creative way that works personally for you. But you need to build that foundation first. And it felt like a trap that I got into for a bit. And, luckily I thought of these things for a bit and I learned them, and, I built a different path, and I think it's worked really well, specifically over the last, few months or so of getting in. But it's a powerful question. And the last thing I'll say on that is, like, if you do feel like you need to know more, like, but you want to like look internal, like know thyself, build that intuition, like where do we start from, right? And I think one of the best things you can do is to start with, what are your values? Like, what are those core values that you have? You know, it's like, what are the things that you truly value in your life? I think that's one of the essences of goal setting. It's not just like, I want to drop this amount of weight, or I want to get this strong, or I want to make this much money in the business. Like, what are those things that you value the most? So then as you're gaining knowledge, or you're trying new things to figure out if it is the best thing for you, you're funneling through your values. Like, what are they? This was something that in the summit I was just in, they talked about, like, yeah, you have your core values. If you're like, you have a business, you have your core values, but how often do you commit to those? How often do you reestablish those? Do you read them every single day so they're top of mind and you're building them up? I think it's a really powerful thing to, you know, build that intuition, to build that self-awareness and know thyself while you're learning more things and you're trying new things out. You know, and the other thing is, does it give you fulfillment? Not does it give you happiness, but it does give you fulfillment. You know, happiness could be, you can do a million things that are not good for you, but they make you happy in the moment. But does it make you fulfilled? Do you feel like you're moving forward and progressing in your journey? I think if you funnel this new information or these new things through your values, through whether it gives you fulfillment, then I think you're on a good track and you're on a good plan of figuring out what is best for you. Okay. So I wanted to leave you on that. And, you know, this question was really powerful for me, but just like everything, the question in my own mind has evolved over time. I first thought of it as, oh yeah, like I need to use what I know better. And it immediately went to the second part of that. And I think that's very true in many cases. However, when you go into new ventures, if you're trying new things, if it's something you haven't achieved yet and you're trying to do it, sometimes you need to know more. You need to gain that knowledge. And if you're doing that and you want to build the awareness, then put it through your value system. Okay? So I'll leave it on that. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Really appreciate you following, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Peace. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found some great value here. And if you like this episode, please drop a comment and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It does more to build the show than you can imagine. And do not forget to check out and join the Strength Connection Facebook group. In this group, I share the biggest takeaways and lessons from these amazing conversations, as well as training and strength tips for pursuing mastery and fulfillment in life. This group is filled with individuals looking to take full control over their strength, and it's the perfect space to explore new ideas and to share your journey. And you'll also get exclusive access to these Strength Connection Mastery seminars. It's a deep dive into the physical, mental, and spiritual training that you can begin using immediately. So do not wait, go now. Seriously, go. All right, much love to you. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.